Chavrim. We want to take a little time with you to share with you about doing the Passover meal, or the communion service that Yeshua did. We use an organic wine. The one we use is Our Daily Bread. It has no sulfites in it. My wife is much more knowledgeable on those things than I am, but we use that. We have a regular communion cup, but you can use any type of cup you would like. I know some people prefer to use multiple cups. I like the fact that Yeshua used one and they passed around, used the same cup. We also use the olive oil. It is extra virgin olive oil. It is unfiltered, and if I remember right, cold pressed as well. And the olive oil is going to be very, very little that we use in that. The important thing, though, in this case here, because we're making the communion bread, how do you make communion bread? We use an all-purpose flour. Now, I prefer to use 100% organic. It's unbleached, and I just think that's better to do that. Now, what we will also need is spring water. So we're going to need a little bit of water in order to be able to make the flour into a little dough piece there. We have on the stove here a cast iron skillet, because you can make it on the stove. I'll probably use a smaller burner here. I've already cleaned the counter was already cleaned. We cleaned the day before Shabbat, and so what we'll do here is we're going to put just a little bit of flour, and really the size of the bread that you make is going to depend on how much flour you use, because what you don't use, it is required that you burn it before the sun sets there. I'm also going to get my hands floured up so it doesn't stick. Okay, let's add a little bit of water, very, very little. And need a little spoon here. So that we can make a little cake out of it. A little bit more water, and we're using spring water. You could use spring watered, filtered water, just whatever works best for you. And kind of mix this up like into a dough. And then, again, I put flour on my hands and put a little bit of flour on there. You sisters are probably better at this than I am, and my wife wasn't feeling too good today, so she's not able to be in here with us, or she'd be right here with me. So I've made a small ball because those of here that will be participating in communion here, there's just a few of us here today. Then we'll put a little bit of flour on the counter here so it doesn't stick. And then put a little flour on our wheel here. Now, I mean, you guys already know about all this anyway. And I'm going to kind of make it very thin so it'll cook very easily. And once you've got your dough made out, you want to take a small portion of that, and I need a knife. I'm just going to cut out a square out of that so that I can make it from there. Now, the oil, and you don't want to use any more oil than you absolutely have to. So I'm just going to put just a little tiny bit in there is all, just barely a little bit. And then I'll use a napkin here. And I'll use a napkin to kind of spread the oil around. All you're doing is just enough to where it doesn't stick to the pan here. And then we'll go ahead and get the temperature going up on that. The excess here we'll discard of. Once it gets hot in there, well, then we'll take and we'll place the bread upon it. The flour is done. I purposely actually do not make it round. I don't want to look like we're Catholics that worship the sun god, so I do not want the kosher bread to be round. So I guess the shape doesn't really matter other than that, but that's just me. So anyway, all right, so this will cook, and you can bake it in the oven or you can do it this way, either way. And then once it is completed there, then you'll place it on a plate there, which we'll do here in just a moment. Okay, once your bread is done, it really, you'll be surprised, it's very hard to make this bread done. It's one reason why I use a rolling pin to roll it out, because you want it as thin as possible so it cooks so you don't end up eating raw bread. We place it on a plate. We prefer to have one dedicated unto the Lord, something that we use only for this particular service in the Passover. Then you want to take for your communion wine, whichever one that you've chosen to use. And there again, the wine that we use, we don't want to use it for any other purpose. So if I know in Europe, the customs for drinking wine is more common and more prevalent than it is in America. So if you happen to be in another part of the world where you partake in wine as a regular type of thing with your meals, then buy a bottle of wine that is specifically for your communion service, that you don't mix that with anything else. And once you have that, you're ready. You have your kosher bread. It's thin, it's cooked, and it is ready. And again, it's not the literal body of Yeshua. It represents his body. And one of the things that we will do when we actually participate in this later this evening at 7 o'clock, when we pick it up, we will actually break the bread and give it to one another. That's why you use one piece of bread and not little crackers, because his body was broken for us. And so everything we do, we try to remember the way he did it, because he took the bread and he broke it and he passed it to each one of his disciples and they partook. The same thing with the wine. He supped from the cup and he passed it to his disciples, and they each one supped from the cup. Anyway, God bless you, and I hope you enjoy the communion service this evening at 7 p.m. Again, if you want to catch us on live stream, all you have to do is go to our website, israelreturns.com, and scroll down the page. You'll find the link in there for the live stream. If you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner of that link, there's a little thing that lets you know more about, or to see more of live stream. You'll see you can click on that. That takes us to our live stream page. At the top right-hand corner, you'll see a red button that says follow. You can click on that, and you'll be able to get the updates when we're running live programs, and to be a part of that and join with us on live stream. I'm Stephen Ben Danoon with Danoon Institute of Biblical Research. God bless you. Shalom and Shabbat Shalom.